Picture this. You're at a grocery store, and you notice someone spending 20 minutes comparing unit prices on pasta sauce. They finally choose the cheaper option, saving maybe $2. Later that same day, they write a $10,000 check to their alma mater without blinking. Confused? Don't be. You've just witnessed what researchers call stealth wealth in action, and it's the secret language of people who actually build generational fortunes. Quick favor, hit like and subscribe right now so YouTube shows this to more people who need to see it. Here's what nobody tells you about getting rich. The wealthiest people you'll ever meet probably don't look wealthy at all. While social media floods your feed with luxury cars and designer bags, real millionaires are driving Hondas, shopping at regular stores, and living in modest neighborhoods. And here's the kicker. 80% of Americans wish they had started investing earlier, with the average person making their first investment at 27 years old. Those lost years? They represent hundreds of thousands of dollars in compound growth that simply vanished. The concept of stealth wealth isn't just about being low-key with your money. It's a fundamental philosophy that prioritizes substance over appearance, capability over image, and independence over Instagram likes. Recent studies of quiet millionaires reveal something profound. Building generational wealth has almost nothing to do with extraordinary income and everything to do with disciplined, quiet habits practiced consistently over decades. Let me tell you about the foundation of all wealth building: living below your means. Sounds simple, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Research from The Millionaire Next Door established that being frugal is the cornerstone of wealth building, not lavish spending. Modern studies confirm this timeless wisdom. Quiet millionaires systematically purchase boring, reliable versions of almost everything. They choose function over flash. One couple profiled in a 2025 study traded their 2 luxury cars for 1 practical sedan and used public transportation for commutes. The money they saved, invested in index funds that grew steadily, enabling early retirement. But here's what makes these people fascinating. They practice what researchers call selective frugality. They're simultaneously the cheapest and most generous people you'll meet. They'll drive across town to save 20 cents on gas, then write 5-figure checks to causes they care about. They reuse Ziploc bags but pay for the best health insurance available. This isn't about being cheap. It's about having an almost supernatural ability to distinguish between spending and investing, between price and value, between stingy and strategic. The financial mathematics supporting this habit are compelling. Once you reach a high income bracket of $100,000 or more, it matters less how much more you make than what you do with what you already have. Self-made millionaires who accumulate wealth fastest put every dollar they can into investments rather than consumption. These individuals spend an average of 100 hours per year researching and planning their investments, double the 50 hours spent by their less wealthy counterparts. Now let's talk about automation, the set-it-and-forget-it revolution that's quietly building fortunes. Research from 2025 indicates that millionaires create systems that automatically build wealth. They treat savings as a non-negotiable bill rather than discretionary spending. They automate transfers to investment accounts immediately after payday, ensuring the money is invested before it can be spent. Here's the power of small, automated contributions. Investing just $10 per week for 5 years in the S&P 500 with total contributions of $2,600 grows to $3,328, assuming a 10% annual return. That's $728 in investment returns from small, automated contributions that you barely notice leaving your account. The beauty of automation extends beyond convenience. It capitalizes on dollar cost averaging, where consistent investing, regardless of market conditions, smooths out volatility and maximizes long-term gains. Automated systems ensure that you stay in the market during both highs and lows, capturing the full benefit of long-term growth trends. And here's the truth that every millionaire knows. Consistency beats timing. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. But perhaps no habit impacts generational wealth more profoundly than starting early. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, and 2025 research validates this assessment. The numbers are staggering. A single $10,000 investment at age 20 with a 7% annual return grows to approximately $149,745 over 40 years. That's nearly a 15-fold increase from patience alone. Let me break down the generational data that reveals the real-world impact of starting early. Gen Z investors made their first investment at an average age of 20. Baby boomers, 31. That's 11 extra years of compound growth for Gen Z. Currently, baby boomers have accumulated an average portfolio value of $472,000. Gen X has $311,000. Millennials have $173,000. And Gen Z has $32,000. While these differences partly reflect career stage, the mathematical advantage of early starting cannot be overstated. Gen Z's smaller balance today will likely surpass their parents' wealth over time because of those 11 extra years of compounding. Here's a scenario that illustrates the time value of money. A person who invests $500 monthly starting at age 25 will accumulate over $1.3 million by age 65 at a 7% annual return. Someone who waits until 35 to start, even investing the same amount monthly, will accumulate significantly less due to the lost decade of compound growth. Now, let's unlock one of the most consistent findings in wealth accumulation research. Self-made millionaires rarely rely on a single source of income. Tom Corley's Rich Habits study, which tracked 233 wealthy individuals for 5 years, found that 65% of self-made millionaires maintain 3 or more income sources. In stark contrast, only 5% of poor individuals have multiple income streams. According to IRS data, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. These aren't necessarily complex or exotic. They typically include combinations of earned income from employment, dividend income from stocks, rental income from real estate, business profits, capital gains, interest income, and royalty income. The beauty of this approach? It provides income insurance against job loss or economic downturns while accelerating wealth accumulation through compounding gains from multiple sources simultaneously. Starting multiple income streams is simpler than many assume. Research shows that 51% of millionaires began with low-risk ventures. Sarah Blakely built Spanx into a billion-dollar company while keeping her day job initially. This approach of maintaining primary employment while developing additional income streams reduces risk while building wealth systematically. Financial planners note that even a modest $500 monthly side income, if invested at 7% annual return, grows to $200,000 over 20 years. Let me tell you about the psychological foundation that separates wealth builders from chronic consumers. Delayed gratification. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment from 1972 tested children's ability to resist eating one marshmallow immediately for the promise of 2 marshmallows later. Follow-up studies found that children who could delay gratification had better life outcomes across multiple dimensions. Higher SAT scores, greater educational attainment, lower debt levels, higher incomes, and even lower rates of addiction and divorce. In wealth building, delayed gratification means choosing to invest a work bonus instead of buying luxury items. It means opting for a modest lifestyle today to achieve financial independence tomorrow. Here's a powerful quote from one financial advisor. Everyone thinks getting rich is about making more money, but it's really about needing less money. I figured out what actually makes me happy. Turns out it's pretty cheap. The rest was just math. Modern consumer culture makes delayed gratification increasingly difficult. We can instantly access everything from devices in our pockets. This makes the practice of delayed gratification more valuable and more rare. A simple example illustrates the cost. 3 packs of cigarettes daily over 46 years represents money that, if invested with returns reinvested, would have exceeded $2 million. Every dollar spent on instant gratification today represents not just that dollar, but all the future returns that dollar could have generated. Now let's talk about the safety net nobody sees: emergency funds. The harsh reality revealed in 2025 research is shocking. Approximately 27 to 33% of Americans report having no emergency fund whatsoever. The median amount Americans have saved for emergencies is just $500. Financial experts typically recommend maintaining 3 to 6 months of living expenses in emergency savings. Here's why this matters. Nearly 40% of Americans aren't prepared to handle a $400 emergency expense without borrowing. Without emergency funds, unexpected expenses force individuals to tap high-interest credit cards, undermining wealth accumulation. But those who set up emergency funds are nearly 200% more likely to feel optimistic and confident about their future. They're 129% more likely to report being able to cover emergencies. Perhaps most significantly, they're only half as likely to be concerned about living paycheck to paycheck. Let me share some advanced wealth-building moves that quiet millionaires use. Tax-advantaged retirement accounts allow wealth to compound with minimal tax drag. For 2024 to 2025, the contribution limit for a 401k is $23,000. Consider an investor in the 22% tax bracket who contributes $10,000 to a traditional 401k. This immediately saves $2,200 in taxes while allowing the full $10,000 to grow tax-deferred. Over decades, this tax deferral enables significantly higher compounding compared to taxable accounts. Real estate investment represents one of the oldest and most reliable pathways to generational wealth. The Urban Institute confirms that home ownership is the main way people build wealth in the United States. As homeowners pay down mortgages over time, they build equity. The average landlord made just over $16,000 from leased property in 2024. Real estate investment trusts allow investors to own shares in commercial real estate portfolios without property management responsibilities. The FTSE Nareit All Equity REITs Index shows REITs returned an 11.8% annual return from 1972 to 2019, compared to the S&P 500's 10.6%. Self-made millionaires consistently invest heavily in their financial knowledge. Those who understand concepts like compound interest, diversification, tax efficiency, and risk management make systematically better financial decisions. Successful wealth builders spend significant time educating themselves. The role of financial mentorship proves particularly powerful in accelerating wealth accumulation, helping develop sustainable financial habits and navigate life transitions. Finally, let's discuss protecting generational wealth through estate planning. The great wealth transfer currently underway in America involves an estimated $84 trillion to $124 trillion expected to change hands over the next 2 decades. Trusts emerge as essential estate planning instruments for high-net-worth families. The federal estate tax exemption allows individuals to transfer up to $13.99 million as of 2025 without incurring federal gift or estate taxes. Here's the sobering truth. Approximately 70% of intergenerational wealth transfers fail due to poor communication, lack of planning, and inadequate succession strategies. This is why successful families start planning early, establish robust governance structures, prioritize financial education for heirs, and align wealth transfer with family values. The research is unequivocal. Building generational wealth emerges from disciplined practice of quiet habits executed consistently over decades. living below your means, automating savings, starting early, diversifying income streams, delaying gratification, maintaining emergency funds, maximizing tax-advantaged accounts, investing in real estate, pursuing continuous education, and implementing estate planning. These habits work in concert, creating synergistic effects that compound over time. The 2025 data reveals stark contrasts. While 65% of self-made millionaires have 3 or more income streams, only 5% of those living in poverty have diversified their income. While millionaires save 20% or more of their income, the average American saves less than 5%. While 1/3 of Americans have no emergency fund, successful wealth builders maintain 3 to 6 months of expenses in reserves. The millionaire next door drives an ordinary car, lives in a modest home, shops at regular stores, and dresses unremarkably. As one individual noted, "Being frugal with things that don't matter so I can be generous with things that do." This philosophy, optimizing for capability rather than appearance, for independence rather than image, defines quiet wealth accumulation. Warren Buffett wisely observed, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." This simple inversion, prioritizing wealth accumulation over consumption, transforms financial trajectories across generations. In 2025 and beyond, as social media amplifies conspicuous consumption and instant gratification becomes increasingly accessible, the quiet habits that build generational wealth become simultaneously more difficult to practice and more valuable to those who master them. The question facing each of us is straightforward. Are you willing to look ordinary to become extraordinary? Because that, it turns out, is the price of quiet wealth and the pathway to financial freedom that extends far beyond a single lifetime. The journey isn't a sprint but a marathon, not about making perfect decisions, but about making consistently good decisions over decades. Start one quiet habit today and watch it compound into generational wealth tomorrow. If this video opened your eyes to how real wealth is actually built, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below telling me which of these quiet habits you're going to start implementing first. I read every single one. And if you want more financial wisdom that actually works, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the strategies that could change your family's financial future for generations. Let's build wealth together, quietly.